Hey, welcome to this webinar. I'm Ron McCall, Sales Manager focused on healthcare here at Robot Lab. And today we are talking about enriching lives in senior living and memory care with Omni Mobii.
So this is your Mobii 3 unit. Great for mobility, which is what it's sort of named after, and also height adjustment to use on the floor and also perhaps on a table. Just as easy as popping these brakes on all four wheels. It's ready to move and be on the go. We've got our height adjustment buttons. So as you'll see, this is actually the lowest that the unit can go. It's just a press and hold to adjust that height. When you first turn on your Mobii unit, automatically the Omni Vista Plus software will activate, and it looks something like this. You should have a series of folders based on the suite that you purchased. Most likely it'll be either the Care Suite or the new Send Suite, but you also may have other games, such as the Double Splat game, catch games, ball games. Maybe you've specifically requested American Activities. The nice thing is that you can also make your own folders for organization. So if you need to create something like we did for our Robot Lab demo, maybe you make something for Friday's activities, and you can duplicate and put activities from something like your Care Suite into that folder. The amount of activities you have access to per suite are around 150. So plenty to choose from, and that's without even customizing. So lots of options. So this is one of the most popular activities on Mobii. This is a water activity. So again, with that infrared sensor, we're not focusing on touch, we're focusing on shadow. So as that shadow moves over the water, it will make a hypnotizing ripple effect. The other interesting thing about water activities, every activity, like I've said, has a couple of settings that you can change. In this activity, we've got some fish under here. We can tell them to either swim away from the ripples or to not swim away. So now if I ripple next to these fish, they're not disturbed by my ripples, versus if I turn that back on, now they'll try and dart away from wherever those shadows appear. These water lilies on top are on a completely different layer. They act a lot like our scatter activity, where you can just sort of nudge them in any direction. The other setting that we have on this activity is the fish speed. So you can actually increase how fast they swim. Obviously, you don't want to increase it too much, otherwise it might give people a bit of a headache. But the nice thing is that you can have it at a nice, 4 or 5 speed for more active users, versus if you need to turn the fish down, so it's a bit more tranquil, easier to follow, or you can even stop the fish entirely. Now, when they're frozen like this, if you still have that swim away active when you ripple, the fish will still swim away from you. But after they do a small dart motion, they'll freeze again. When you purchase your Mobii, there is an option to also purchase an activity kit. One of the many things inside that activity kit are some bean bags for activities like this. Just a nice little competition. Maybe it's, blue bags versus red bags, and you're trying to get the highest score possible. There's also a little bit of math involved. So if I hit that 10, 25. So red would score what? 60 versus 35 for blue. Another possible activity you have is called scatter. Essentially, we have a lot of smaller images covering up a large background image beneath. And as you scatter, you also have the option to play some kind of sound behind it. So you want to get some people dancing. Don't have to move quickly, because again, as long as those shadows touch, it'll scatter. And now you'll notice those discs come back rather quickly. You can change that in your settings, that move back delay, if you increase that. Now when I swipe away from the king's face, they'll stay gone for a much longer amount of time. And they can enjoy the image, you can talk about the image, talk about the music, etc. And then after those 17 or so seconds, the discs will start to return. So this is a nice and calming scatter activity. Your movements don't actually scatter the little balls on the side too much. Sometimes they don't even affect. There's only a few that are actually actively scatterable. But the point of this one is more to follow this nice breathing in, breathing out, circle in the center here. Maybe it's a place where people are gonna gather. Maybe sit a circle around the mat, something like that, and just breathe in and breathe out. And that controlled breathing, much like you would for Y is for yoga. So all these activities don't have to necessarily stimulate, they can also calm. Speaking of stimulating, this is a splatter activity. So the goal is to essentially move your shadow on top of the objects that are moving around. So when we do so for this activity, whoop, they're going to change into fireworks. So again, if you have more active, they can run across, try and catch up with them. If you have a little less active, all it takes is just a nice little swipe, and it'll pop that firework. And as soon as they are all set off, the game will reset. This is what we like to call a quiz activity. Pretty straightforward, nice and easy to customize the number of questions, the type of questions. We recommend using images for the answers because, again, this is largely a visual medium with the projector. But once you uncover your answer, it will also show the answer spelled out for you. So let's go ahead and pick that Eiffel Tower for Paris. But if you happen to get something wrong, no worries, you learned something new about what it is, where it is, and then also you have as many opportunities as you need to pick the right answer. Now, if I'm standing on this side of the mat and I know that the pyramids are in Egypt, if I try and walk across to get to that side, I will activate that incorrect answer. So just be aware that you probably want to keep most of the users for this off of the map, either on the sides or at the bottom right here. So this one should be in America. And again, be careful about your big shadows. If you have them walking up by the question, they will accidentally probably uncover some of the answers down below. Now this activity is what we call Quiz Pro. It's sort of the upgraded version of quizzes. So I'll show you what that means in just a moment. You've got the amount of questions up top here, and you'll keep track of your score up here as well, so you know what it is at all times. But the nice thing about Quiz Pro is essentially you can't accidentally hit a wrong answer. So complete the title of the 2006 Samuel L. Jackson film, Snakes on A. And I know the answer is plain, but it's all the way over there. Even if I do walk across these answers, you'll notice that those white bars appeared. It will not actually select the answer until it knows that that bar is all the way full. Now, I can't just step and press on it, because again, this is not touch activated, it's infrared activated. So what you have to do actually is shake over the answer that you want to complete it. The painter whose work included the scream. Oh, that was Munch, wasn't it? If I get these wrong, I apologize. We'll see. Yeah. Now, the great thing about Quiz Pro is that there's around 100 different questions, all randomized. There's an easy, a medium, and a difficult version. Some difficult questions will pop into the easy, they're just less frequent, and same thing with difficult. Some easy questions will pop up in the difficult quiz, they're just less frequent. So, nuclear when it melts grounds, I think that was Japan. And again, if this was on a tabletop, you'd just be moving your hand across it. Huge show of Mr. T and Murdoch. Oh, that was A-Team. Another nice relaxing activity and also to get people moving. Essentially, we're gonna go on a walk today. Oh, we had some shadows pop up in our studio. But essentially, as you walk on your little nature trail walk, you reveal where you are and what you see, and you can engage in conversation that way of, it looks like we're walking in a forest today. I wonder what kind of trees those are. Do you remember what trees you had in your backyard or front yard, etc. And now we're walking to our next location. And ooh, this seems to have a lot more color. Some nice flowers. I'm from Texas. I'm gonna automatically assume anything that's blue is a blue bonnet. But whether these are little daylilies or whatever it might be, daffodils, I don't think they're blue. And again, they don't have to walk in a straight line. They can walk and wander wherever they want to. So you can essentially go on a quick nature hike from the nice air-conditioned building. Now this is called a zone activity. So essentially if you touch a certain zone, something will happen, an image will change, a sound will occur. And this just so happens to be our music tiles activity. So you guessed it, if you step on one, it'll light up and also give you a musical tone. And they're all nicely in the same chord, so even if a bunch of people jump in at once, it's still going to sound very harmonious. But a nice fun way to get people to jump up and be active. Speaking of getting ourselves active, this is probably one of our most active activities, which is a ball game. There's a couple different types like soccer, air hockey, and we'll show you the air hockey one on the table in a moment. You can keep score. There is also an option to not keep score. But essentially, you just have to keep in mind that your foot placement is not the key, it's the shadow placement. That's what's going to move the ball. So if people start getting frustrated saying, hey, I'm kicking it and nothing's happening, just again, if they've got enough of a cognitive understanding, just remind them that that shadow is really what's going to direct that ball. And of course I score on myself. But a nice little fun, competition, get some people moving. And again, they don't even have to pretend like they're kicking, they can just literally walk up to the ball. That'll be more than enough to get the momentum going. It's a lot less fun when there's, only one person, but I think you'll get the idea. Again, also try your best not to be too close to the projector for a game like this, because then the ball will go wild. It'll detect all these shadows and not really know where to go. And finally, speaking of competition, this is probably one of our more complex activities, but this is called a double splat. This is the easy version of the double splat. You can splat anything and score points. But essentially, as you splat objects, just like you would in a splat activity, you choose which one you want to splat, and it wipes the entire board. And as you do so, you score points. There is a versus each other, but there's also a side-to-side play that you'll see on the table. Again, this is an easy version. I'm going to show you the most complex version we have. You'll notice that in a more difficult version, you'll have a timer at the center. You'll have the image that you're trying to splat in one corner, your score in the other corner. But what makes this activity particularly difficult is you also have to, quote unquote, reload your shot. So this scarab right here, as long as it's green, you can try and splat something. But now that it's red, if I try and splat that mask, it won't do anything until I go back and find that reload button, turn it green, and now I can score another point. So again, if I try and go for the wrong image, nothing will happen. And again, that timer is rather fast. So in active competition, it would look something closer to, you can also re-challenge. It would look something like this. Pick it up. So now that we are on our table vision, this is another use of your water activity. We're going to use the same sort of physics of the ripple effect, but instead for just wiggling some jelly. So another cute usage. As for our wipe activities, they don't have to remain on the floor. They can easily transfer to the table. Now we're at a Egyptian dig, and while your users are either sat down or at the table or maybe over top, exploring, you can uncover some ancient artifacts, maybe talk about some ancient Egypt history. And as you saw on the floor, zones are excellent for any kind of musical interaction. When you purchase your Mobii, you'll also get a couple of these. These are technically for calibration purposes. However, they work excellently as touch wands, or in this case, ways to play your glockenspiel. A lot of people, especially with this particular activity, love to use a ball to try and hit every note. And again, for accuracy. So if they start from here, if they can manage to hit that purple key, then they successfully made it across. But one of my favorite zone activities has to be the drums. This particular zone activity is much more touch sensitive so that they can So just like we saw on the floor, you could play something like football or American soccer. Or something like air hockey on the table using your hands. So you can even leave this up in your activity room and have people come and go, pick up a game. Again, a little less fun with only one person, but you get the idea. Oh, it's less fun when I'm not. There we go. And again, there are versions where you keep score and there are versions where you don't keep score as well. And the final activity we have for you today, I like using this activity a lot on tabletops, but you can also use this on the floor. And essentially you have control of your basket, your catcher. These are called catch games. You can catch snowballs, you can catch tiaras as they're falling from the sky. You can, but in this case, we're just trying to catch some apples. Now you'll notice this is my score up in the top corner. You can actually change the game mode. Maybe you need to make sure that enough people are sharing the Mobii MOBA and you only have so much time to play the game before your next user needs to come up. Or maybe having some kind of limitation stresses them out, like me. I don't want any kind of score or time limit. I just want to be able to play. Another big setting for this game, and to increase the difficulty of the game, is the game speed. So as you turn that up, more objects will fall at faster rates. So you can change that as need be based on whoever's playing. Finally, you can also change the play zone so that if they're restricted to only one side of the table, maybe they can't reach all the way over to the right, you can restrict the play zone to be the left, the right, or not limited at all. Let's hop back over here and see. Oop. There we go, full. We'll make it a score limited, and let's change up this game speed to see how stressful I can make this.
Now it's time for a little Q&A. Ask us anything about Mobii. Thanks everyone for joining us for this webinar on Mobii. It was really fun having you here, and we are looking forward to continued conversations. If you'd like more information about Mobii or like to schedule a virtual demonstration, please feel free to reach out to us at sales@robotlab.com. Thanks a lot and have a great day. Cheers.